What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dojo Setting. Today we're going to do a video on jibbing. Before we dive into that and what all that stuff is, just wanted to say apologize for not putting out any videos lately. I've just been really busy. But we're back. We've got a lot of stuff coming on the way. And make sure you like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and yeah, so what is jibbing? By jibbing a hold, I am talking about adding a hold on top of a hold. For example, you have this pinch here, and we've added this hold to it. So we're going to talk about why you would do that, how to do it, and some tips on how it is done well as things to avoid to do it poorly. So the big one is, why would you jib a hold? There's a lot of different reasons for this. One of the main ones that I have seen, and you don't really see this a whole lot at newer climbing facilities, but if a hold is kind of old and a lot of the texture is worn down, if it's kind of polished off a little bit, you can add a jib to sort of bring new life to the pinch. It doesn't have to be a pinch. You can do it on virtually anything. I wouldn't do it on jugs. There's no reason to jib a jug. The other reason is if a hold is too bad for what you're trying to do with it. If you don't have another option, another hold option, you can always just jib it and make the hold a little bit more positive. While you are deciding whether or not you should jib something to keep in mind, that the hold that you are jibbing onto needs to be flat. So something like this, where it has these ridges in it, this doesn't quite work. Reason being, so once you put a hold on it, let's see if we can see how the hold doesn't sit flat. All those ridges create a little gap, and it's going to be sharp, it's going to be painful, nobody's going to want to climb on it. So make sure you are choosing a nice flat, you have this one here, a nice flat hold when you're jibbing. In my opinion, the biggest thing with jibbing a hold is comfort. It is really unfortunate if you put a hold on another hold that would end up being kind of sharp. A good example of that, this is a fairly flat to in-cut edge. Let's ignore this jib here. Let's say we jibbed this thing on it. This is a little crimper here. It's kind of a sharp crimper. It's got this hard edge right here. If you were to put that on this hold, it's really sharp. It's really uncomfortable. With that, what we're going to do, we are going to jib this pinch. This thing's pretty old. It doesn't have a ton of texture on it. Yeah, so we're going to jib this. Usually with pinches, one of the easier things to do is to jib the thumb, because usually the fingers are okay to grab. It's the thumb that loses the ability to pinch. You wouldn't use this hold, but if you're using a bolt-on hold that does not have screw holes, highly recommend going and picking up one of these bad boys from a hardware shop. DeWalt makes them. They're relatively, maybe I'm cheap, I don't know, relatively expensive. I think this thing is like $10. But what it'll do, it'll pre-drill your hold so it'll avoid cracking the hold. And then because of this little bit here, it gives it a nice countersink so that your screw head is going to sit flush instead of sticking out of the hold and potentially being dangerous. So I would use one of these if you're not using a screw on. What I am going to do is actually start to pre-drill into this plastic. There are some manufacturers out there that you could probably get away with just drilling straight into it with the screw instead of pre-drilling. we all know holds are expensive. Why risk breaking them? So just pre-drill it. Doesn't add that much time. So if the jib is going to go here, I'm just going to now, keep in mind, I did not drill all the way into this. The reason being is that I'm just trying to get it so that the screw isn't fighting drilling into the plastic. You want to go nice and slow. If you go really fast, it's very easy to break a screw. That's a whole other set of problems. All right. So, I did not tighten this all the way. It's still loose. It's because I have not put in my other screw hole here. So let's do that really quick. Starting it. Just giving your screws something to catch. So now we have this little jib here. It does make the pinch a little better to use. Jibbing doesn't necessarily need to be on holds. You can also jib a volume. There are some volumes that are kind of designed to be used as handholds, and even ones that aren't necessarily meant to be designed for to be used independently. You can kind of jib, you know, little thumb catches on them to make the volume itself usable. It's very, very helpful. If you bought one of the mystery packs from somebody, which don't even get me started on mystery packs, and you ended up with like a sloper or something that was too hard, jibbing really helps that. I hope that helped with jibbing. Again, it's a good tool to use when your holds have sort of lost texture, or if you just need to make the hold a little bit better. Like I said, you can do it in a way that doesn't quite work with using really sharp holds. Just make sure before you actually jib a hold, make sure it's comfortable. You know, whatever hold you're going to pop on it, make sure it's a comfortable hold. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. But yeah, I hope that helped. Keep an eye out. We'll have more exciting videos coming out soon. We'll catch you next time.